I'm Joe Reel.
And I'm Peter Gill.
And this is Two Men Talking Movies.
Say what again? Say what again?
I'm sorry, David. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Get off my plane.
Here's Johnny.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Good day, sir. You ever dance with the devil in the pit? I am your father.
Beats. We can kill it.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
Two men talking
Movies.
The thrill is gone.
Have you noticed how like all those hipster bands have really long names?
Like Leon Bridges.
Not just Leon Bridges. I'm talking about like
Leon Bridges isn't hipster.
he's not hipster, but a lot of hipster people they say they like him, but I don't think they really even listen to him.
What?
But I actually believe that you like Leon Bridges because when we went to New Orleans, you seem to like that type of music. So you've
Yeah.
talked about other bands like that before, so
Wow, thank you. I appreciate it.
I trust you. Welcome to another episode of Two Men Talking Movies. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Reel,
And this is the other host, Peter Gill.
Peter Gill, and we are off to another episode, right?
Yeah, this is episode 8,
Episode 8.
The Hateful Eight.
That was a great movie. Did you see that?
I need to see it. I don't think it's on any type of streaming right now.
I don't think so. You know that movie was filmed, I think, in 70 millimeter?
No,
Do you know what that means?
never. I don't.
70 millimeter is
So
70 millimeter is a film size, and actually, Hateful Eight guy. See, I told you I always forget.
Tarantino.
Tarantino, thank you. Quentin Tarantino. He doesn't like using digital video
yeah.
when filming, so he uses actual old school, actual film.
All the Star Wars
So-
films are going to be on film
Yeah.
instead of digital.
That's like Nolan uses IMAX film, which is, I think it's 70 millimeter, but it's turned a different way, so it puts the picture on there in a larger frame.
Huh.
It's really cool.
That's interesting. What you been up to this week?
I am in the heat of school, so that's going good. Learning some really good stuff.
Like 70 millimeter?
Yeah, that was actually, we talked about that like 2 weeks ago. We were talking about film sizes. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. Just a cool environment, you know, like I don't feel like I belong there just because this is also new to me. Like a lot of people there are already really into filming and into doing short films and stuff like that and writing. And I'm so new to it. Basically, the only thing I said is like experience. I'm like, well, I like watching movies, you know.
And what have you done?
I just watch a whole lot of movies. I actually would bet though that
Watch YouTube?
I would even think more than my professors. I bet I've seen more movies than anybody in there.
Wow. And you think
Not
that's like an
combined, but
accomplishment?
individually. No, it's sad, but it has to do with when like my high school years when I was like a shut-in and just watched movies all day, and now it kind of came with my adulthood too. I don't do it as much as I used to, but I used to watch movies nonstop, and I would get on these tangents where I would find a director I liked and watch like everything they ever put out.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So like a couple of my favorite ones is David Cronenberg.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of him?
No.
The Fly. You ever watch that movie?
Nope.
Okay. History of Violence. He did that one. That's okay. I'll go on to the next one. Yeah, so David Cronenberg is one of the guys I like. John Carpenter.
Swing and a miss.
Halloween, the original Halloween.
No.
Michael Myers, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was his movie. He also did Escape from New York, I think. Or L.A. He did one. Maybe he did both of them. Yeah. I also love Christopher Nolan. Everybody loves Christopher Nolan, though.
Yeah, who doesn't?
I didn't like The Dark Knight Rises, though. Did you like that movie?
Yeah, I liked it.
I felt like that was like the worst movie he's ever done. It wasn't like compared to other movies, like compared to Suicide Squad, it was great, you know.
Well, from what I understand, they were kind of on their heels in that,
Were
right?
they?
Because
That's what I assumed.
Ledger was gone. He was out of the picture. They couldn't continue his villain.
But I liked like the guy's Bane.
The guys.
The
Said
guy.
that like Christopher Walken.
The guy. What's that guy's name that played Bane?
Um,
Come on, you're fast with these
no,
actors' names.
I don't
are you
know.
searching it?
what is it? Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, I've already got it. It's Tom Hardy.
That's right. Tom
Tom
Hardy's
Hardy.
my boy.
Yeah, he did a great job as Bane, but the whole movie was just kind of I don't know, it just didn't. It was weird pacing.
It was cut weird. I thought.
Well,
It was hard to
they didn't
follow the
explain-
timeline.
They didn't explain some of the stuff, like
Him getting out of that hole. Like I
Yeah.
didn't really.
he had like
okay,
a
why is he in
broken
Gotham
back
now?
and a broken leg, and it magically heals in this prison that's out in the middle of the desert. Then he gets out of the hole. Then somehow he ends up back in the United States.
And then
back,
it was Bane the whole time.
back in Gotham. Yeah, and then I love that line when Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, his name's Blake something. He's supposed to be like Robin or whatever they set it up.
Yeah.
But he's talking to Bruce Wayne, and he's like, "Yeah, I've always known that you're Batman because when I was little, like you came to my school, and I just knew, like you just seemed like he made up some really stupid excuse that he figured out that he was Batman. I felt that was really dumb.
Yeah. You know,
They should have had something where he was like, Bruce, I don't know what it is about you, but like I know like there's something else to you, and I know that you care more about the city than you act. That would have been better. I would have been like, okay, that's cool.
maybe you send that into him. And Let
No.
him know. Like, hey,
But I've also read some places that Christopher Nolan and his brother Jonah, they don't feud, but they kind of, like, from what I understand, I like Jonah's ideas of movies because like everything I don't like I don't like how Interstellar, that the ending with when they're in space and the weird stuff was going on. You know what I mean?
yeah, but he was leaving it open.
But
Everyone hates that scene.
No,
think it's 'cause-
I like how the very end, but that one scene where it's like
the bookshelf?
it's explaining everything.
What's wrong with that scene?
It was just kind of weird. Like
Well-
I felt like they were trying to be very truthful to science up until that point. Then it was just like all science went out the door.
Yeah, well, because there is no science for that.
Right, but it was
That-
all
that was
everything
the
was
sci-fi
everything
part of
was
it.
theoretical up until that point.
Yeah, but that's why it's a sci-fi.
You're
movie.
right.
It's science fiction.
You're right, but I mean, I just think why go to all the trouble of having all these mentors that mentor you in like.
So the random black hole didn't bother you as much.
no, because theoretically that as far as we know, all that
Someone just a black hole just appears.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that how stars are made and destroyed? Black holes, right? They start with a black hole.
Yeah, but in that movie, we're getting incredibly off from how your week was. In that movie, a random black hole that lets you see into a different universe appeared out of nowhere. And like, we don't know how it got there. There's nothing there to explain it. It's because it's science fiction. You got to suspend your reality. Suspend reality there for a little
Well, I'm sure there are things that appear all the time that we don't know exactly, but the fact that something that just goes way out there and doesn't make any sense with physics or anything. I mean, it was okay. Like you said, it was okay, but I
bit.
just.
Who's to say that you're?
But anyways, my point is, it's okay if you like it. Well, yeah, who's to say my opinion's right? You're right. But from what I read, Jonah, who is who writes, he's actually a writer and does screenplays and scripts for other people, but he didn't want to do that for the end, and that was like Chris's idea to do that. And then also in The Dark Knight, there were some things that Jonah didn't like that Chris changed. So I blame all of the faults on Chris.
All of Chris's faults are Chris's fault,
Exactly.
not Jonah's fault.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
that's okay. They're both still geniuses.
My week was pretty good. If you wanted to ask,
yeah.
took a few days off of work. I've actually been. So you know how you said you listened to or you watched all the movies that certain directors directed.
Yeah.
I have been going through and in our theme song, not a theme song, but
been trying to watch all
our
the movies
intro.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
And I got to the part in Pulp Fiction where he's like, "Say what again?"
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's great. I actually rewinded it and watched it again.
Nice.
Oh,
Do you know what each one of those clips is from?
One's Gene Wilder.
Yep.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
What's
One's
the one
Pulp
that he says?
Fiction. The one is like, "Good day, sir."
Oh, yeah,
good day.
Yeah. What else? Let's see if you can guess them all.
Ever dance with the devil?
What is that from?
Is that
I used that in, I think, last week's episode. I put that in there right before we went into the
Ever
review.
dance with the devil? It's not. I don't know. What was that?
Do you know who the actor is that said that?
It sounds like Gene Wilder, but no, it isn't.
It is Jack Nicholson and Batman
Oh,
with Michael Keaton.
Oh, okay. So he's the Joker. in
He's
that
the
one.
Joker. Yeah, he says, "Ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?" And Batman goes, "What?" He says, "I don't know. It's just something I like to say." He's like, "I just like the way it sounds." And
Well,
he
then
shoots
yes, I've seen that movie.
it. Yeah.
I
I also had there's one from
Fight Club,
Fight Club,
of course, Star Wars.
Star Wars. Yeah, I Am Your Father. There was.
Gladiator. I just watched Gladiator again.
Oh yeah, I did. Was it?
Are you not entertained?
Oh yeah, is that in there? Did I
Yeah.
okay. I couldn't remember if I put a 300 clip or a Gladiator clip. I guess I settled on the Gladiator clip. What about?
Oh, that's the one line in cinema that can always get my hair standing on my neck is when he says, when Commodus says, "Don't turn your back on me," and he turns around. He's like, my name is Maximus Decimus Meridius,
Oh yeah,
leaders of the army of the North, father to a murdered wife,
father to a murdered son.
father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
Yeah,
That's good.
I think I also put a Predators line in there. I either put the one where he says, "I don't have time to bleed," or something. I can't remember. I don't know. I think I put a Predators one in there though. I can't remember which one it was. And also, did I put the Jaws one in there? Where he's like, "We're gonna need a bigger boat."
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So with my time off recently, since we've had Hurricane Hermione, I know it's Hermine or whatever, but
I think it was tropical storm by the time it hit us.
Yeah, Tropical Storm Hermione. I've been watching a bunch of movies. So I watched
Nice.
Pulp Fiction, then I watched Gladiator. Almost watched Now You See Me Too, but I decided not to.
Mm.
I'm playing Battlefield 1, the open beta.
Oh, nice.
But anyways, chill week.
That's a good game. Battlefield 1.
So we got, I guess that's our intro, right?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess. So that means we roll right into your montage.
What is it?
Trailer trash.
Trailer trash. One of my favorite segments, because it's one of my favorite things to do, is watch snippets of movies I haven't seen yet and get excited, overly hyped for a movie.
And then
that's-
never go back to actually watch those movies.
Yeah, pretty much. I was thinking about for some reason, all the movies I had watched the trailer of, and I was like, oh, this is going to be good, and I just never saw the movie. I guess it wasn't that good. So first up, we've got Max Steel.
Steel now, go turbo!
You okay?
Yeah. A few more bruises than usual.
Well, I actually think that this is probably not going to be my type of movie.
Yeah, after seeing the trailer, I wasn't really convinced.
Apparently, Max Steel is actually a toy line of action figures, and it's also a TV show from 2000. Then there was another one called Max Steel Turbo Missions from 2008, and then a revamped Max Steel in 2013. Yeah. So.
Okay. So I don't think they're really trying to market to people like me and you. Maybe there's like a whole generation of kids.
I don't think so. Maybe there's like 16-year-old kids who are like, yeah, I remember Max Steel when I was a kid.
Mom, take me to see Max Steel.
I think you and I were probably too old for this because I don't even know what this is.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Yeah.
No clue. And it looks like a scaled back, scaled down Marvel movie.
Yeah. Maybe like a cheap knockoff of G.I. Joe.
Yeah. I'm like, what's next? Are they going to come out with cereal, the toys you get in the cereal box movies?
Probably. Or the Happy Meal.
You know there's an emoji movie coming out, right?
No way.
This
Are you
is how
serious?
dumb our society is getting.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm very serious. I've never been
Wow.
more serious in my life.
Was it just going to be like the heads, the emoji
It's next
heads?
year. Yeah, it's just emoji. It's going to be the worst movie ever.
How do you make a plot out of that?
How do you make a plot out of Angry Birds?
I can understand a plot out of Angry Birds. It's a plot in the game. It's not very deep, but there's a plot.
Yeah.
The pigs like just steal their eggs or something, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, they did it with Legos, and I think they're like trying to run that route with Legos and Angry Birds.
Jeez.
I know. This is what we have to deal with.
This is ridiculous.
So next up, we have a movie called USS Indianapolis: Men of Courage.
Where do we pick up our escort?
It is top secret.
there'll be no escort.
I feel like these movies, like I really want this to be good, but watching that trailer, the whole time I'm thinking like,
Cringe.
yeah, and like, who like watched these special effects and thought that that was okay?
The looks that Nicolas Cage. By the way, this is going to be the year of Nicolas Cage. The looks that he
I
gives.
thought that every year was the year of Nicolas Cage.
No, this year he's in some box office movies with Snowden and looks like,
He's making a comeback.
yeah, the Cage-assance, maybe? I don't know. The Renaissance of Cage. Every look that he gives, I can't just help but laugh because it's just like this painful look. And I can hardly take his serious acting seriously.
Yeah, I really want this movie to be good. It looks like a made-for-TV movie. That's what it looks like to me.
If this is going straight to Netflix, this would probably be a good movie.
Yeah, maybe. It's like this story of this movie is great. I love the story of the USS Indianapolis and how they were on a secret mission, and you know the tragedy that occurred upon them, and like now, like this wasn't from what that looks like. I wouldn't have wanted that to be that adaptation of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
Looks like
You
a
know
lot
what?
of cheesy writing.
Yeah.
Too.
We just got a call in. There's something in the water.
There's something in the water, Captain.
yeah, he's like, we just got a call. There's something in the water. I'm like, your men are drowning, and you like that doesn't even make any sense.
Where do we pick up our escort?
Yeah, wouldn't you have said like,
There is no
hey,
escort.
we just got a call that our ship got sunk and we got to go rescue our guys? But that's why I was like, did he just really say there's something in the water? What?
It's not that. It would be,
Doesn't even
Captain, we found the survivors
Exactly.
of USS Indianapolis. They're in the water.
it doesn't even make sense. There's something in the water.
Something in the water.
Wow.
So I don't really have high hopes for this movie. As much as I want to believe in Cage. Yes, he has won an Academy Award.
That must have been a long time ago.
I think it was a weak season. Nothing against Nicolas Cage, but I
He
think it
didn't
was a
have a
weak
lot
season.
of competition that year.
Yeah. So next up we have Priceless.
These girls don't belong to you.
Those girls don't belong to anyone.
You go down this road, you can't go back to normal life again.
There's some bad dudes who are gonna kill you.
My friendship comes at a cost.
This is not what love looks like.
I want to shut this thing down.
So I guess this is a film about the sex trafficking.
Yeah, I
So
mean that's
it's-
what it looks like. It looks like this mom and daughter are being trafficked.
Yeah, why did he agree to do that? Like from the trailer, it looks like he's like taking them somewhere. He doesn't. Is it that he doesn't know what he's taking? Like he's taking a load to somebody, and then he opens it and he doesn't realize there's two people in there.
Yeah, I think he's maybe already mixed up with the wrong people, and they're like, "Hey, we got a way you can make some easy money." He's like, "Ah, sure." And then he looks like he wrecks the truck, and the lock breaks, and he goes to see what's in the back, and it's a mother and her daughter. Looks like a teenage daughter.
Yeah.
And then he realizes he's taking these women to a sex trafficker.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's connecting with them on the way and gets attached and wants to put it into this.
You would
this
think
ring.
as soon as he saw people, he would call the cops or something.
Well, he probably already has a backstory where he's got a history of.
Maybe.
Right, he took this job knowing he was doing
Yeah.
something illegal.
It already seems like he's a hard character to relate to for the protagonist, you know.
Yeah.
But
So I don't know. I'll probably see this movie. I doubt I'll see it in theaters, but
I doubt I'll probably see it, honestly.
really,
Yeah.
is sex trafficking?
No, I mean I think they could make a really great movie. I liked what was the one with the guy where his daughter gets captured and he goes after Taken or something? Liam Neeson.
Are you really trying to
Taken?
beat around the bush to Taken? Yes,
Yeah.
it's Taken.
Yeah. Couldn't remember if that was it. Yeah.
How did you not remember Taken?
That came
Liam
out a
Neeson?
while ago. Yeah.
That's like it's a very
That was a
popular
good one.
movie.
That was a good movie that
Yeah, that was
focused on
good.
sex trafficking. Yeah.
Yeah. This one looks like it's a little bit more heartwarming.
This one
though.
looks like a Hallmark movie.
Hallmark. Wow,
Yeah.
I wouldn't stoop that low, but yeah, I can see it's got that Hallmark.
It had
vibe
like
to
that
it.
one token guy who's like, "Hey, here's an actor you recognize," and I know him from like The Office and a couple comedies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I got for trailer trash this week.
Wow.
It was pretty
It was
pretty
a weak week.
Well, it was weak, but I think people will realize that they probably shouldn't see these movies after we've talked about them. And maybe
Yeah.
we save some people some money. Like, Max
Probably.
Steel.
Yeah, so
No,
they're-
not what
even
you
though
thought.
they're not good movies that we talk about, it's sometimes it saves you the money.
Right.
Some people might like. There might be a fan of Max Steel out there who's freaking out because we don't know who Max Steel is.
Oh, I doubt that.
Well, let's roll into real time.
Real time.
Well, I'm going to have to start us off with a sad story.
Oh, no.
This comes from CNN.com. Gene Wilder, star of Willy Wonka, dead at age 83.
He was known for so much more than just Willy Wonka, though.
Yeah, but Blazing Saddles. But Willy Wonka was his iconic character that everyone's gonna remember from. I mean, that's a timeless movie. You can't. They tried to redo that with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Ugh.
Awful.
Yeah.
Gene Wilder, who brought a wide-eyed desperation to a series of memorable and iconic comedy roles in the 1970s and 80s, has died, his lawyer Eric Wiseman said. He was 83 years old. Wilder is best known for his collaborations with director Mel Brooks, starring as the stressed-out Leo Bloom in Brooks' breakout 1967 film The Producers, and later in the monster movie spoof of Young Frankenstein.
That was great.
Yep. He also portrayed a boozing gunslinger in Blazing Saddles. For many people, Wilder might be best remembered for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, playing the mysterious candy tycoon in 1971 adaptation of Roald Dahl's book. Yeah. I always get rough names. So anyways, in a statement to CNN on Monday, Brooks called Wilder one of the truly great talents of this time. So,
Yeah. I mean,
he is definitely, and he also, from what I understand too from this article, is that he died to complications to Alzheimer's.
really?
From Alzheimer's, yep.
Wow.
And that was something I heard on NPR. I don't see anything in this article about it, but one of the things is that he didn't really tell anyone that he had Alzheimer's. That wasn't well known.
Really?
And the reason being is that he said that he didn't want to be walking down the street and have maybe a child or someone see him and be like, oh, it's Willy Wonka and stuff. And then the parents have to explain to her like, oh, he has Alzheimer's or something like that. He didn't want that magic of his name to go away because of his illness, which is pretty sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will never forget him for what he did in Willy Wonka. I mean, that was just. I remember as a kid watching that and just like, this guy's absolutely nuts. And by the end, you're trying to figure the character out and trying to figure out if he's really mean because he freaks out on Charlie and his grandfather. I mean, they shouldn't have been messing in the bubble room. We all know that. But cut the kid some slack. And then at the end, he's got this really great heart. I thought it was
when
really
he puts
cool.
that everlasting gobstopper back on the table.
Yeah.
That was a great moment.
And like they walk into his office and his office is all like just weird stuff.
I thought his office was just normal. Like the whole place is crazy, and then you get into his office and it's just like, oh, it's just normal.
No, remember like half the he was having like half of things, like a half a desk
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
and like a half a coat rack.
Yeah.
Everything was half. It was just weird. That was great.
Yeah.
Iconic movie. That was great.
Next story I have comes from BusinessInsider.com.
Ugh.
Peter, I hope you're never going to walk into another Cinemark theater again.
Why?
Because I'll tell you what, because I'm not. Judge rules.
What?
Judge rules Aurora shooting victims have to pay a giant theater chain $700,000 in legal fees.
No, that's not right.
Let
700,000.
me break this down for you. Back in 2012, there was an attack, right, in the Aurora, Colorado Century Theater, which is connected to the chain of Cinemark theaters. And do you remember this? I guess this was at the time.
Definitely, because that kid was nuts.
Yeah, did this come out? Dark Knight Rises? Was that the release of the Dark Knight?
Yes, no one wanted to go see the Batman movie because they weren't sure if there were going to be any more reprisal shootings or something like that. Right?
I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, I think this was from the Dark Knight Rises when the movie was coming out. And this guy walks into a theater, shoots people. He killed 12, injured more than 70. And so what happened is these three survivors of this massacre, went and they filed a lawsuit against the theater, saying that the theater didn't have appropriate security. They didn't have, sometimes, especially, I know around here, we always have a cop or something on duty, right?
Yeah, there's usually
Especially
cops
on the
standing in
Friday
corner.
night showings, all the time on the weekends. Maybe not during the weekdays, but anytime it's a new movie or something like that, there's always a cop that's there.
Yeah, there's one at Regal and MacArthur. There's one at AMC.
Yeah, because you
Lynn
never
Haven.
know what's going to happen. Sometimes there's fights, sometimes drunks. You never know. So they said that, I guess, I don't know if they had somebody or maybe they thought they didn't have enough people on there, but they sued Cinemark for this, these 3 survivors.
Mm-hmm.
They lost the lawsuit, and so in retaliation, Cinemark turns around and sues them for all the legal fees.
Hold on. Okay, so this happens all the time. Whoever's the loser of the lawsuit pays the legal fees.
Yeah, so this Colorado allows the winning side of a civil case to seek costs. So all right, so this is what it says. Colorado law allows the winning side of civil cases to seek costs, so plaintiffs were then ordered to pay more than $700,000 to Cinemark to reimburse the theater chain's legal fees. So since Cinemark won the lawsuit, meaning they didn't get sued, then they have a right to charge. They said, oh, well, then you're going to pay all our fees because you tried to sue us.
Here's where I think the fix needs to come in on something like this. One, these lawyers. So that's a very regular thing. If you go to sue someone, you pay all the court costs.
Right.
And this was a very high-profile case. There was a lot of cases involved, and so there's going to be a lot of legal fees. And who I think should pay this bill is not the survivors or the families of those who passed away. I think it's the attorneys who said, yeah, let's go ahead and sue them. That's who I think. Because you have all these attorneys who say, let's go sue these people. I think we have a case. We can win all this money and help pay all these final expenses. And I'm sure people lost breadwinners. I'm sure people lost income bringers to their life. And when they lose the case, the one who's stuck footing the bill are the people, not the lawyers.
Well, one of the people involved in the lawsuit, Marcus Weaver, who was one of the shooting survivors, told the New York Times, he said that he was hoping that the settlement would push Cinemark to implement new safety measures to help protect further theater goers.
Yeah.
So I see this as a smack in the face to customers. I mean, it was a terrible thing that happened in Aurora. Whether you want to say that the survivors, it was right of them to sue them or not, that's beside the point. The fact that this multi-million-dollar, probably maybe billion-dollar theater company, I mean, $700,000 is nothing. I used to work in movie theaters. The amount of money I would see in graphs of like what we made a weekend and stuff like that, $700,000 is nothing. They could do that in one theater, and you know what I mean? Like, that's ridiculous.
No, I think the blame falls on the lawyers who brought this case.
Yeah.
Not the people, because obviously someone was telling these people that, hey, look, Cinemark messed up. They should have done A, B, and C, and they didn't, and we can sue, and we can get X amount of dollars. And either those lawyers were incorrect or they didn't prove the case. So I think it should fall on the lawyers to pay their own fees. Now, if you're an attorney and you're listening, you're probably like, well, why would I ever take another case? Well, you're going to take the cases that you know you can win.
Yeah.
Right? Not some frivolous lawsuit like this.
Yep.
So this is very unfortunate.
Maybe they thought they were going to win. Maybe it was something that was shocking they didn't win. I don't know. But I just feel like it's disrespectful, and I don't want to give my money to a company who is going to disrespect their guests like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What they should have done is they should have cut their losses. Because already it's a terrible thing that happened. It happened in their theater.
Yep.
Which honestly, I think they're liable for any. If it happened on their property, they're liable for that anyways. I don't know, how that worked out in the long run with medical fees and all that. But yeah, so I would have just cut it at a loss and been like, well, we lost $700,000 in this court case. But no, instead they want to come back and be like, oh, you want to sue us? All right, well, guess what? We're gonna make you pay for all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's rude, but
I think it's very, very.
I told Rachel that we're going to boycott them. We're not going to Cinemark anymore.
I'm on, them and Regal. Regal, your theaters smell like butts.
The Regal in Harborview is nice.
That's a very nice one, but that's also leather seats. Any Regal with cloth seats smells like butts. So I'm going to start limiting myself to Regal. The leather.
I'm really liking AMC now. Regal and AMC are like my go-tos.
Yeah, Regal and AMC are definitely go-tos. You have to have leather seats. If not, you have to be AMC because their theaters don't smell like butts. Also, please turn on the AC before the movie starts. That's a common courtesy, right? There's no reason.
Regal MacArthur. We're talking about you,
Oh
MacArthur, in
man,
in Norfolk, Virginia.
If you have a chance to go see a movie anywhere, the reason why we go there all the time is because it's a go between both
like
of
a
our
midway
houses.
point,
Yes. That place smells like butts, and they don't turn the AC on until the movie starts. It's very annoying. Ugh. It's just every time I go in there, I hate giving them my money.
Well, I'm gonna try to match your stories for trailers.
Okay.
So I'm going to do 3 news stories this week. The last one, this is kind of a little off of what we normally do, but I figure since we're both a fan of this and I'm pretty sure all our listeners probably watch this too, I wanted to throw this in here.
Uh-oh.
This comes from IGN.com. It is official that now Stranger Things has been renewed for season 2.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. What a great show.
Okay, so my question is it a sequel or are they going the route of HBO did with what's that series, that popular series that they have? True Detective.
So
Every season's a different
it's an anthology series.
an anthology cinema
Yeah.
drama. Okay.
So Stranger Things is an anthology series. Stranger Things, we don't know if that is. Let me take that back. Cut that out.
Cut it.
So, yeah, I don't know if this is going to be an anthology series like American Horror Story or what was the other one you said?
True Detective.
True Detective, yeah. Let me see.
I'm pretty sure this is a sequel.
I think it's a sequel too.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think there needs to be a sequel. I like how they left it. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen Stranger Things. If you haven't, there's a ton of quote-unquote Christian articles out there saying that Christians shouldn't watch it.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
Oh.
can we talk about that? I probably
Oh
should have
my
talked about that
gosh.
first. Let's talk about that. Well, first let me address the thing. So I'll close this article out and then we can kind of go on this Stranger Things talk. But so the Duffer Brothers, who are the ones who made this, did we talk about this before? That they went to like 10 different studios and they got denied every time. And they went to Netflix and Netflix picked it up. Did we talk about that or no?
Really? No. What?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
And they just like gave everyone
Slade,
else the
yeah,
middle
this was
finger.
like this is considered one of the best like new TV shows. So
They just
you
gave-
know like
oh my
NBC and
goodness.
all them are probably crying because of that.
Oh.
But anyway, so yeah, the Duffer Brothers. If you guys want to check this article out, there's
Yeah,
some.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. NBC, CBS, maybe not Fox, FX, maybe.
AMC. I'm sure they went to AMC. Maybe.
I'm pretty sure any of those big time studios like FX or not FX, but NBC, CBS, they would have ruined it. AMC History Channel might have been able to do something
Well,
with
Disney
it.
would have definitely ABC. Yeah, they would have butchered it. So.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so the Duffer Brothers said if you guys want to check out this article at IGN.com, there's some more links that I think you can watch a video of their actual interview with them. But they give some more detail to IGN about season 2 and how they're going to make it weirder and darker than season 1. So go check that out at IGN. And yeah, so I guess it's going to be a sequel. We'll see.
Yeah,
You know?
I don't know how I feel about a sequel.
2017 also is the date they have on it.
I would want something a little like anthology. Like if I had like another 8 episodes of something like Stranger Things,
Yeah.
I would. It would be almost like a better X-Files, X-Files on steroids is what this felt like.
Maybe. I hear a lot of people say that, and I get what they're saying. I like the characters they have. Maybe if they can keep it like every season is a different story.
The kids are golden. The cast is golden.
Yeah, keep the same cast. So do like X-Files to where it's the same, like investigators. The kids are kind of like Mulder and Scully, but have a different like monster or a different theme every season. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So,
Those
like-
would be the kids with the worst luck.
Yeah.
Oh, not this again.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about this whole Christian article thing.
Yeah, there's a blogger.
Do you
out
want me to
there-
bring? Do you want me to bring this up?
Yeah, we can. I mean,
Let's
because
do it.
the nature of this whole show is going to be a little bit more Christian themed.
Well, yeah, we're both of the faith. Is that how,
So we're
can I
both-
say that? That sounds
we're-
kind of weird.
We're both believers.
Yeah.
I guess is the way
Of
I
the
put
faith,
it.
we're of the cloth.
Our hearts are knit together, right? No, no, we're both Christians, and so there's this Christian blog world out there that loves to blog about very popular things and talk about how Christians shouldn't do or do them. Whether
I'm trying
Whether-
to find this. I know it's on Facebook.
I know, I have like I can go to 3 different.
Go to
Facebook
any of your
friends.
Christian friends'
Yeah.
Facebook, and it's probably in there.
Go to
in
any of
there.
your hardcore, out of touch Christian friends, and it'll probably be on their Facebook. So there's this thing on there, this blog they're writing, talking about how there are elements within Stranger Things that Christians shouldn't watch. Okay, and talks about, I guess there's a sex scene, and the blogger just felt awful for watching two teenagers getting ready to have sex, and he's like, I can't watch any more of this. And I appreciate his heart. Okay, but this is a very personal. That is a very personal. That is a very personal view. It is not something that should be, in my opinion, broadcast to the masses, because not everyone's mind works that way. And if you're watching Stranger Things, if you're watching any type of movie and you're critiquing it and you're taking it not only from the entertainment standpoint, but also from a storytelling standpoint, stories involve sex.
Oh, I found it.
Right?
Do you want me to plug it in real quick, or do you want to keep going?
Let me keep going, because
Okay.
I'm
All
on
right,
this
I got
little.
it. Well, when you're ready, I got it.
Okay. Stories involve sex. Stories involve drugs. Stories involve comedy, good things, bad things. These are what stories comprise of, and how these stories are told is very important. And the overall plot and the overall storyline is what matters. Okay, and just because a story has sex in it doesn't mean sex outside of marriage. Let's put it that way. Just because a story has that in there doesn't mean it's a story that shouldn't be seen or shouldn't be shared. There's a ton of Shakespeare plays. There's a ton of classic.
Not to mention Bible stories.
Yes, and I told my wife this. I said, if I was writing a story about my life, there would be a sex scene.
Yeah.
There would be, because I mean that's just how our lives are. I mean, sex is something that happens within a marriage, and I think the more time we play mum's the word on sex, you're not educating your children, because if you're a parent, you could take that, whether it's a teenager. I don't know if I'd let a child watch Stranger Things. There's a ton of
It's kind of scary.
well, it's kind of scary, and as a child, you can't really understand the story it's trying to tell.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had a teenager, I was like, okay, so what are the ramifications of their sex scene?
Yeah.
Poor Barb. Barb was left out on the diving board. All right, and what happened to Barb?
We'll probably do you want me to share this article on our Facebook too?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So yeah, this comes from, I'm trying to say this right, Challies.com. That's spelled CHALLIES.com, and their little subtitle on their website is called "Informing the Reforming."
Informing.
Oh my
Please
gosh!
stop it.
So the article's title is "On Stranger Things and Being a Big Prude."
Oh my gosh.
So basically, this, like you said, the guy goes through saying how he was like he said he got into episode 2 and turned it off because of the steamy sex scene.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, I agree with, like, you know, if you have a personal conviction, or if it's not a conviction, you're not religious and it's just something you don't like to watch sex scenes, that's fine. You know, like you yourself as an individual can be offended by things or not like things that maybe other people do like or don't mind, and that's great. You know, it's probably better than most of us. You know, it's probably better that you filter yourself more than most people do. But for someone to say that he's forcing his personal conviction on everyone else, saying that they should do as he has.
He goes in here and he also says that he hopes he doesn't have a holier than thou.
Yeah.
And then he says something about, I don't think that's it. I'm pretty sure that's it. I'm pretty sure it's a holier than thou moment where you're not watching it because you're robbing yourself of a very good story, in my opinion. Yes, there are objectionable elements in there, for sure. There are things that maybe a Christian wouldn't do. But that doesn't mean that the story itself is something that shouldn't be consumed. There's a lot of stories out there. For instance, I've said this before on this podcast, Wolf of Wall Street is a vulgar,
It's a filthy movie.
crude, filthy movie. But the story shows the depravity of man, and it doesn't really glorify it. It actually shows the horrible ramifications of it. And the amount of damage it brought into this person's lives and other people's lives. So there are a lot of movies out there that you just can't deny them because of one little scene or one. Because if that's the case, what stories are you taking?
Yeah, and I think we need to really ask ourselves, right, and this is kind of pointed at believers and critiqued at believers. If you hear something like this, or you see something like this, or say something like this, our response doesn't need to be, we need to that this shouldn't be in that movie or something like that. And the reason I say that, you're probably getting upset, but the reason I say that is because we shouldn't be a culture that basically limits storytelling, right?
Right.
Right. How can you tell, and how can you say that a story is sinful, right? If I tell you a story, if I'm sitting in a chair and I'm telling you a story and I say that, you're not watching this, you're just hearing me say this, that if this character has sex with that character, is me making that up in a story, is that a sin? I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think making that up. And so I know we view movies differently. It's a visual and audible art form, and so it's a little different. You have to think of it too. These are actors. These are people that, they're supposed to make it kind of be seducting and stuff like that. But I think really the sin, if there is sin in this, it lies in the individual who is receiving the art. So
Correct.
You as an individual, you're watching this. If you start to get tempted, if you start to, if this is going to make you do something bad or something, or like if you have a porn addiction and maybe you see this and you're like, man, I really want to go look at some porn tonight, I'm going to do that. The sin wasn't in you. It wasn't in the movie being made and that scene being in there. The sin is in your reaction and what you're going to do after that.
Right.
So as the individual who wrote this article, Challies, or I don't know who it is, Tim Challies, that's who it is. If that is his prerogative and he
Sure.
has that stumbling block, more power to you. Good job. Way to
Right.
turn around and not do it.
And maybe he's encouraging other people with his conscience, with his
Mm-hmm.
type of conscience. But to me, it's a very limited conscience, because if that's all it takes for you to go cheat on your wife or you to go start up a porn addiction, then yeah, you shouldn't be watching it. But maybe you should think about a little bit more self-control.
Yeah, and we should definitely try to, consume things and that are not going to hurt us as individuals mentally. Whether that's you watching porn or you, I don't know, what would be something else that would be an art form that is,
For instance, you like horror films. That's not a state of mind that I like
Okay.
to put myself in.
You judging me?
No,
Oh,
no. But I'm not sitting here writing a blog post on twomentalkingmovies.com about how everyone should not go watch horror films.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
To me, that's just irresponsible.
And in response to that, I have a hard time sometimes watching Game of Thrones
Okay.
because of the highly sexualized parts. Now, I know that's part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
It's fully part of the story.
Right.
I have a hard time with it. I don't think it's bad you watch it.
Right.
I mean, like I said, it's a story. It's part of the art form.
Sure. To me, in Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
to take sex out of a story, or to take, for instance, what George Martin is trying to do there, and we're getting really off here, but what George Martin is trying to do there is show the depravity in human nature, instead of something like Lord of the Rings where everything is kind of glossed over.
Yeah.
Right. If you look back at history will tell you of horrible people who did horrible things, incest, and that's something that we should be reminded of so that we don't repeat it. And I know that's where he's coming from. And when I watch Game of Thrones, it's not something I dwell on, or it's not something that when those things do come up, it's actually happening less and less. But when those things come up, I don't stare at it.
Right.
I look away.
And like you're weak. You know what you can take and what you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and back to the scene in Stranger Things, it was part of the story because it really, this is kind of spoiler, I guess, but it's only 2 episodes in. The character, she basically she gets used by this guy, right?
Yeah.
She gets used by him. He's a scumbag. You see that towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
And she realizes her mistake. And because she slept with him, something bad happens.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a...
It doesn't glorify it at all.
It doesn't glorify anything.
Yeah.
And
I don't even think you see anything.
yeah, but I mean, you can believe like me. I'm going to a film school here in Virginia Beach, and if I ever get a chance to make a movie, there's probably gonna be language in it. There's probably gonna be drug use. There might be some stuff that people don't like.
Right.
But I'm not gonna sit here. I'm not gonna have a villain or in a movie or something bad happen to a character that isn't bad. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. And a villain is going.
That's why
to
we
do-
have movies like Fireproof and God's Not Dead and The War Room. I mean, those movies are trash. You know.
There's another one recently. I think it was a
and I'm not
fantasy.
saying that because they're Christian movies. I'm saying that because they're not good. They're not good stories. They don't.
No.
You know what I mean? Like the villains are, like instead of cursing, they say stuff like "Dang it."
Shoot.
Yeah, like it's not believable. It's not believable storytelling. It's not good storytelling at all. It's terrible. The acting's terrible. The writing is terrible. Great Christian movies would be what? Signs, The Passion.
I think Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord
Maybe
of the
even
Rings got
Chronicles
some
of
Christian
Narnia.
stuff. Yeah, Chronicles of Narnia they're okay. I like the older ones better. But yeah, so
Any movie. Any movie, in my opinion, that has a story of redemption, or a story of salvation, or a story of good overcoming evil. All right, this is what I'm really holding out in Game of Thrones because he hasn't finished the book series. Good overcoming evil. It is a Christian narrative. Any story of redemption, I mean, just how Christ redeemed us. Any story of salvation, just like Christ saved us. Any story of grace or mercy, or good overcoming evil, has a Christian narrative. The reason why people look to those is because they don't see it in the world. All right, a lot of it gets lost in the entertainment, but that's kind of what I look for in films to determine whether or not it's something I want to watch or something that I think I hold in good standard. Make sense?
yeah, makes sense. I was trying to read some of the comments of this article to just show you.
Amen, brother.
Read you some funny ones, but
God bless
some
you.
of them were kind of personal, like people talking about stuff in their lives. So that I felt kind of bad, so I decided not to.
Yeah, I mean, it has its place, and I think I know. I think I know where he's coming from, and so I don't hate this guy. I don't dislike this
Wait,
guy.
here we go. Wait, I just want to read this one. That was a gross scene. FFD'd. What does that mean?
I don't know. BFF. I don't know. I don't know.
Through those parts of episode 2 and 3, it is awful to use actors that way. I did, however, finish the series. Nothing more like that.
Good.
I guess he said he's not going to watch anything else like that again.
Yeah. So I understand where the guy's heart's coming
It's just
from. I
terrible
really do.
making fun of these people.
You shouldn't. You really shouldn't.
I probably shouldn't. Okay.
All right. So that ends real time, which brings us to rental of the week. All right. So the rental of the week I've got is Spotlight. And
I saw that. It was a nice one.
recently won Academy Award for Best Picture.
Last year, right? 2015.
And when it won the award, I was thinking, how is that possible? Because Mad Max got a ton of awards, The Revenant got a ton of awards, and I think that it had only, I think Spotlight had only gotten an award, I think for maybe Best Screenplay Adaptation.
Yeah, I think it was up against Bridge of Spies, Revenant, Mad Max,
Yes.
and The Big Short.
Yeah, and it won Best Picture. And I'm thinking, what on earth? How is that even possible? So I was like, that was stupid. And so, but I watched the film because it's on Netflix, and if you have the chance to watch it, it's not a movie you watch with kids because it's it's a very adult-oriented film. But when I say adult-oriented film, it has content that's suitable for adult. Children aren't going to be able to glean anything from this, but the movie, I was not expecting the movie that they made. It was fast paced. I loved the tone of the movie. It was a very serious tone movie. It was well done. The writing was great. The acting was great, and the story just told a story of thousands of people who have been. For those of you who don't know, Spotlight is the Catholic Church's. They looked away from the priests who were molesting children, Catholic priests who were molesting children, and this Spotlight, who is a group within the Boston Globe, covers this story, and they cover almost 250 priests who had abused and molested children. And the movie is not a very lighthearted or something a lot of people like to think about, but it's something that needs to be seen and realized. And I'm glad that these victims had an advocate when several times it was just brushed under the rug. So it's a very good film. Those of you who might watch films by yourself or with your wife or with your spouse, go watch this movie next time you get a chance on Netflix. I think it was great.
Yeah, I really thought Mark Ruffalo too did an amazing job in this movie.
Oh yeah,
I love the scene where he is
Michael Keaton too. I mean, he's just crushing it.
Yeah, I love the scene when they're arguing about releasing the story,
Yeah,
and Mark Ruffalo just loses it.
yeah.
And,
You could feel.
Yeah.
You could feel it. And
he's just yelling at him. He's like, "No, we got to do this now." He said it's not right.
I was on Ruffalo's side. I was like, "What are you guys waiting for?"
Yeah. But yeah, great movie.
Yeah, I thought it was good. At the end, you kind of feel it's a very heavy movie. It's a very heavy movie, so you feel heavy after the movie, but like you also feel inspired, to kind of share that story because
Yeah.
and the next day we have a Catholic school right next to our house,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe a couple miles from our house. And the next day, as I'm leaving for work, I guess it was the first day of Catholic school.
Yeah.
And there's these lines lined up down Indian River Road to turn into the Catholic
Drop
school.
their kids off.
And I'm just thinking, ugh. and not that school has done anything.
Yeah.
But you just don't know. You just don't know.
Yeah.
And it's
But
tough. It's tough.
yeah, so you just said now you're saying the movie. So the movie was basically discriminated against Catholics because now you feel like you hate Catholics. Now that's what you're trying to say.
No, I don't hate Catholics, but I think there is a culture in the Catholic Church of secrecy. And this is like, for instance, I'm not going to, I mean, it's all public knowledge. It's all history that you can go and watch, but I don't want to ruin the movie. But the cardinal who was in charge, I mean, nothing ever really happened to him.
Yeah, a lot of people got away with a lot of stuff. I think too in churches themselves and schools, anywhere where an adult is over a child in any position, there's always chance for some abuse to happen.
Oh, yeah, whether it's,
it's
sexual or whether it's mental
physically,
or physical.
yeah,
just,
there's always and it's so easy to happen. So I think it's really good that churches and schools and companies and stuff that work with kids, that they really screen the people that they're hiring. Because,
right, like our church, everyone has to have a background check.
and not just a background check, but constantly, don't be leaving kids alone with adults and
Right.
like one adult and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Even if it is a woman, and you know what I mean. A lot of people sometimes they're just like, oh well, just not with the men.
Right.
There's a lot of women who have done a lot of terrible things.
Yeah,
too,
and it also made, because I know me and you both grew up in church.
Yeah.
It also made me very extremely thankful and blessed to know that none of that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
When it has happened to so many other people,
Mhm.
and it's just it's very sickening to me, and it's my heart just felt for those people in Boston and those people around the world, because they show the names of the cities that this same investigation was also conducted, and it's a difficult movie to watch, but it's something I think that needs to be watched, and the story needs to be shared for sure.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the Catholic Church can keep continuing to get away with something
Yeah,
like
so go
this.
check that out. That is Spotlight, and that is, I guess, on
Netflix.
Is it on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Nice. I think it's on Amazon and maybe Hulu also. So go check that out. Guess what?
What?
We are not yet getting any type of, what do you call this? Advertisements?
Yeah, advertising.
Yeah. We're not getting any advertisement yet. We're not making money off this show yet. And, it's okay. We're going to build it. We're going to get there. But until then, we're doing free advertisements for, I don't know, specific people, maybe for help or maybe for things we like.
Yeah.
Right? Just things we want to talk about that we like. So before we talk, you might have heard us talk about Bookables before. Well, now we're going to talk about something else. We're going to talk about a little friend of ours who dropped an album a couple weeks ago.
Oh, my boy.
Yeah, this comes from the artist Jay Millennium. You're going to be hearing this track play in the background, and you're probably banging your head like I am right now. Feel that bass. Yes. Yeah, Jay Millennium is a local artist from Hampton Roads, and he just put this album out. It is called A-Face. Yep. And it's free on SoundCloud. So you can go to soundcloud.com/JMillennium and you'll find it right there. It's free for you. No, he's not charging anything. Go like his Facebook at facebook.com/JMillennium. That's spelled JAYE Millennial.
I'm on that love piece and hope no asking what are those. God's in and I'm going live. King's kiss while in when we on the mic. Put a hope in his name when I lift my hands. So wait up in his name, I'm a silver fan, make a man.
All right, so it's time for a review, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So this week we watched a movie called Sausage Party. A little animated family movie.
Oh my gosh.
From Pixar, Disney Pixar.
No, you're wrong. The only thing you're right about, it's an animated movie. Yeah. DreamWorks, right? No.
No, this comes from, I don't know what studio put this out. It's basically Seth Rogen's entourage of people. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Greg Tiernan, I think that's the guy who usually does his movies. Nope. Oh, wow, no. Greg Tiernan is known for doing the Train movies. Wow, this is hilarious. Sorry, I'm going through all this stuff on IMDb. Anyways, so this comes from Seth Rogen, who have brought you movies like Knocked Up,
Pineapple Express.
Pineapple Express, This Is the End.
Yeah. A lot of Neighbors.
Neighbors.
Yeah.
Neighbors 2.
Neighbors 2.
Yeah. Great.
A guy
movie.
who can make you laugh by doing drugs. The Green Hornet. He was also the Green Hornet.
Oh, he was that. I never saw that movie.
Yeah, you're not missing much.
Okay.
Yeah, so Seth Rogen has done numerous films. Some are funny. I mean, if your kind of comedy kind of lends to watching
Seth Rogen style.
Yeah, watching people get high, acting like a child, then
A ton of sexual innuendos.
yeah, a lot of what I like to call teenager jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Then Seth Rogen is probably pretty funny. I mean, some of his movies have done pretty well. Some of them have absolutely bombed. But this Sausage Party movie, if I had to give it a rating, I'd be right there at like. The only reason I would give it as high as a grade that I am is because of the animation, and that's a 2. So I would say that if I had to describe it in one word, I would describe it with. Can we use hyphenated words?
I guess.
A mess. That's how I would describe this movie. Garbage. No, I'll use garbage. Garbage. Yep. Definitely garbage.
Would you... So I would assume that you would not suggest people go see this movie in theaters?
No, I would actually... I would not go see it in theaters. I would not recommend anyone go see it.
So this is your lowest rated movie so far?
Yes, it is.
This is... You thought was the worst movie so far?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I would probably say... So we're doing the one word. What did you say? What was your one word?
Garbage.
Garbage. I would say it is. I'm gonna go into a couple words. It's semi-funny, but it is pretty vulgar, really vulgar. It's probably one of the. I'm a fan of Borat. A lot of people find that movie pretty filthy. This was probably worse than that. And I read something, I don't know if this is true, but I read that Sacha, whatever his name is, Baron Cohen, right? Is that his name?
I think it's just Sacha Cohen.
Sacha Cohen. He walked out of this movie saying it was like the most raunchy movie he's ever seen, the most extreme, so.
Yeah.
I would probably give this a 4 out of 10. I wouldn't really watch it again.
Would you recommend someone to go see this in theaters?
I don't know. If you're a big Seth Rogen fan, probably. Other than that, no. I don't feel like it was as funny as the trailers made it out to be. And I wanted to see more, like, we'll get into it with the spoiler review, but the pacing of the story was a little bit different than what the actual trailers showed you.
Yeah.
And, Yeah, it's pretty raunchy. So if you're not into raunchy humor, definitely don't go watch this movie.
I would say for some of and I've seen some, I guess, raunchy films or some vulgar films, and I would say this is probably the worst one I've seen. I mean, it was just like...
This is probably up there with Bruno. Did you see Bruno?
I think I turned Bruno off.
Yeah, this is probably up there with Bruno.
No, I didn't see Bruno. I did not, because everyone said it was just an awful film.
Yeah, so if you saw Bruno, this is about equal with that.
I would say this is way worse than Borat. Borat's just about an idiot.
Well, then Borat. Yeah, Borat wasn't really. I mean, there's a lot of bigotry and
that's true
stuff, and there's a lot of bigotry in this too. So
a
ton.
Yes, there is.
So anyways, so yeah, I wouldn't say go see it in theaters unless you're a huge Seth Rogen fan. That would give our combined score, mine a 4, you a 2. That would give it a 3 out of 10.
Also,
which I think makes it our lowest rated movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also read that this movie. Where is it? Can you pause it real quick?
All right. What did you say? Per Deadline.
I also read about this movie through Per Deadline.
What is Per Deadline? What do you mean?
Through Deadline.
Oh, Deadline.com.
Deadline.com.
Okay, gotcha.
That Sausage Party is being sued by over 30 cartoonists for unpaid overtime on this movie.
Oh, wow.
So the budget for this movie is right around $19 million. Probably should have been somewhere around 25, maybe. Who knows? But the production company is saying that they adhere to all regulation, overtime laws, which this is actually a very huge problem with Hollywood and cartoonists, is that they're not paying the animators enough for the overtime. And so if you need any other reason not to go see this movie, I think that's a great one, because having a really hard time even paying the people who worked on this movie. So that, I guess, that ends our spoiler-free review. And if you're gonna end your listening right now and come back and listen after you saw the movie, if you don't want to go see the movie, then I guess you're just ending it here.
Or you don't want to see it, but you just want to hear what we think. You can keep listening.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or if you don't care about spoilers, just keep listening. Either way, keep listening.
If you're not going to see this movie and it doesn't matter, feel free to take our opinion. So if you cut it off now, don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes, and also subscribe, please. And give us a like on Facebook. Maybe share the post when we list it. So,
bye.
See you later.
What you're saying is true. I gotta tell everyone.
Very noble, little sausage, but also very pointless. No one will believe you.
I have to try. Everyone will die otherwise.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
All right, so thanks for everyone who stayed. Thank you.
Yeah.
We are now in the spoiler review. And so the reason I gave this a 4 out of 10, because you're probably thinking, why?
Yeah, why?
Why did I go that high? The animation, like you said, was really good.
Yeah, it was good.
A lot of the jokes, there were some really funny jokes in this movie. But as we'll get in towards the end scene of this movie was just insane.
That was awful.
Yeah, like I was like, what? Like they were kind of going extreme throughout the entire movie, but then they just nosedived right into like, let's do the most ridiculous,
right,
filthiest, like offensive thing we can do in this movie.
Yeah,
and they did. So but yeah, so we went and saw this, and yeah, it's got a protagonist who is a hot dog,
yep.
Right?
Yep.
His name is...
With no bun. Just a regular hot dog.
Yeah. So it has a protagonist who is a hot dog. His name is Frank. And that is played by Seth Rogen. Mm-hmm. And so basically Frank, the whole story and plot of this movie is that Frank wants to go to what they call the Great Beyond or something, right? The Great Outside.
Yeah, the Great Beyond.
Yeah. And which is outside of the grocery store where all the food live together. There's the hot dogs, the hot dog buns, everything you can think of in a grocery store. Everything's talking, and they all wait every morning and wake up and sing this musical about how they want to get picked so they can go to the Great Beyond, which is like the afterlife.
Right.
and it's and live in paradise.
Yeah.
And so, so this hot dog Frank, that's what he wants to do, but he's not so sure through the movie. You're seeing like he's like, I don't know if this is.
Which basically this opening, quote unquote, hymn is a satire on hymns that Christians sing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Yeah, so the movie, they do a lot of.
Because we always talk about going to heaven.
Yeah. The whole movie is really a spoof on religion, and it's kind of the message that I got is that
because in the very beginning they open up with this hymn, which is a satire on hymns that Christians sing, and then they kind of lay the groundwork for the rules and the gods and how they created the place.
Yeah, they created it, and
they're ready to be picked to go to the great beyond.
Yes.
Yeah. And they kind of set it up that way. And so immediately when they're opening with the song, I get this like, oh, this movie's all about making fun of religion. And so I kind of like caught it right off the bat. And like, I guess none of the jokes ever really hit with me because I was just thinking, oh, that's just going to be making fun of religion.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I didn't think this movie was funny at all.
Oh.
But there was very few times people were laughing in this movie in my theater. Now, it could be because the theater smelled like butts, but...
No, there was a lot of... I mean, there's some moments, some really big laughs we had. Like I said, there's a lot of bigotry. Like, the... what were the things that were like the Nazis in the movie?
Not Nazis. It was a Jewish guy and a Muslim guy.
No. There was a group of foods that were like Nazis, and they kept saying, we're going to kill the juice. Like, acting like Jews, but saying juice.
Crackers?
No. They had crackers that they said, get them crackers over in there. There's a lot of little plays on stuff like that. I can't remember what the food category that was.
Also, the Indian being whiskey. I thought that was...
Yeah, so it's bigotry like that where you're like, oh, yeah, that's inappropriate and stuff. I mean, it's humor like that where it's like ethical, like not very ethical humor, right?
Right. Like the Muslim was, I guess, a traditional Middle Eastern rap or something. And
the bagel was a Jewish man.
Yeah, I didn't know bagels were...
Jewish food?
Jewish food? I didn't know that.
Oh, I thought that was like a New York thing, like bagels. Like.
No, I had no idea. I'm like, okay. So it opens that, and they're singing, and then I guess a mustard can gets picked, right?
Yeah, the mustard can gets picked and breaks and or he goes back and she returns them.
Yeah, and he comes back all nuts.
Yeah, he kind of tells them like everything. Who was the antagonist in the movie? It was
that douche thing.
Yeah, the douche. Yeah, there's another thing. There's an actual douche.
So there's two antagonists, the douche and the gods.
There's only one antagonist.
There was?
There can only be one antagonist.
Well, I feel like they were working against the gods, which were the humans, and this douche. But maybe I think it probably was just the douche.
Yeah.
So let's pause it right there. All right, for when the mustard comes back. Okay. So this mustard comes back and describes all these awful events, and everyone just says he's nuts. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's no possible way. The great beyond can't be like that. How unreal is something like that? And if we take what they were trying to do was to maybe throw a satire on today's modern religion. When have we ever had someone die and then come back to life? The only one that we would say would probably be Jesus, right?
Yeah, I think they were kind of playing on how people die and come back and say, oh, I saw a light or a bright light or something. And they're saying that he came back and was like, nah, there's not a bright light.
Yeah. So
I don't think they were trying to mock the crucifixion right there.
No, I don't think
you felt?
No. It's just we've never ever had a really reliable, provable experience like that.
Oh, yeah.
And so what they painted it as, this guy comes back, and has a reliable witness or a reliable testimony, which is...
Really getting all Christianese testimony.
Yeah, I said it. Testimony. No, it's just something that's not realistic. It doesn't happen. And for them to make that claim that it does happen is something that's false. But anyways, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is that... So one of the reasons you really didn't like this was because of... I more so didn't like the food orgy at the end. That was kind of like I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. Like, just gross.
I didn't like the whole the philosophy or the narrative of the movie.
You didn't like that?
I hated it.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't stand it.
I didn't hate it. It was okay. Like that part it didn't really bother me that much. The one thing I will say is that because the message kind of was don't believe things, don't be gullible and just believe things to believe them, right? And I will say
the message very clearly was religion has no proof. There are other things that show evidence that religion isn't true.
Yeah, but towards the end, they were like, we're not gonna. Remember, he said something like, we can't just tell them because then they'll lose their minds.
Yeah, he's also saying that's a very like small-minded atheistic point of view. Like, the only reason everyone believes in religion is to keep them sane.
Yeah, maybe.
Right, and they think that there's this large conspiracy that religion is made up to keep the masses in order. It's a very small-minded atheist thing. A lot of 19 to 24-year-olds or 23-year-olds believe that. Mm-hmm. And they're like, no, well, Peter, you realize you're a Christian because there's people calling the shots and they just want to keep you in order, right? And I looked at him like, oh, okay, so do you also believe in like UFOs and the Loch Ness Monster? Things are very obviously not real. And so, anyways, this movie was pointed towards a very young crowd, a very young atheist crowd, in my opinion. And it used a lot of I guess false thinking, illogical thinking to kind of prove its point. You don't think so?
No, I do. It kind of falls in that same like Stranger Things type, like we were talking about earlier, kind of where it's just like, I don't know. It was there. That wasn't the point. That part of the movie didn't really like rub me as bad as the orgy did. The food orgy at the end.
Oh yeah, well,
the food orgy was just like, I was like, geez.
So one other thing I want to hit in this movie, because I don't know how long it will
people are like, food orgy.
Yeah. I want to hit the food orgy, and then I want to hit something that he did. So he goes on this journey.
Yeah,
Frank does.
No, I agree with what you're saying about the religious thing. I guess it didn't. I didn't focus on it.
Yeah,
a lot.
I think this is the first time we've talked about it, which is how we normally do these things. So they go, they see all the horrible atrocities that the humans do as they cook the food, and they kind of they freak out. Mm-hmm. And they get back to the grocery store. And Frank goes on this journey, or I'm sorry, Frank doesn't go out. I'm sorry, he doesn't go out of the grocery store.
Yeah,
there's this big cart fiasco, and they fall down, and so Frank and the bun, Kristen Wiig, whose name is Brenda, looks like, stay and Frank goes on this journey to figure out what's really going on, because he kind of has this idea from the mustard and from the whiskey that things really aren't real, and so the whiskey, they get high. And they start telling him the truth. And they tell him to go to the place beyond, or not, to the other side of the supermarket. And so he goes to the other side of the supermarket, and he's trudging up this hill, and he gets to a cookbook. Mm-hmm. And this cookbook has all these different recipes and shows people eating food, which is himself, yeah. And so he goes and he rips the page out, and he comes back, and he wants to put it into it, and he shows the piece of paper or the cookbook recipe to everyone on the screen. And everyone's like, no, wait, what is that? He's like, I have evidence that what we were thinking is not true. And he shows it to them. And something didn't sit right with me, because that's also isn't a perfect parallel. It's an illogical parallel to what we have today. Mm-hmm. Like, no one has a piece of paper that says all religion is false or Christianity is false. Mm-hmm. There's no evidence that there isn't evidence that disproves God. Mm-hmm. All right, that's why science can't rule it out, because there's no evidence that disproves God. And he is claiming in the movie to have evidence that disproves God or disproves the gods.
Yeah.
So I thought that was something that didn't really match either, and I hope people can see through that when they watch this movie.
Yeah. I didn't like how so from the trailers, I thought the whole story was going to almost be like a Toy Story type of tale where this whole ragtag gang of food gets taken home together and
They have to survive.
all this stuff starts happening, and then they're trying to make their way back to the supermarket or somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're trying to escape and they're getting through the world. But really, it was more so it was like three different groups going on. There was the group still back at the supermarket.
Right.
There was the group that went to the food. The
Great Beyond.
The Great Beyond, which was in
The buns.
the lady's house.
Yeah.
Oh man, I just had Jimmy John's coming back up.
Ew, gross. Don't tell our listeners
And
about
then
that.
you had so from the group of the people that went to the Great Beyond, there was that one hot dog that lived, right? And then
Yeah.
he went to the other group, which was at the guy's house, who was
shooting up with bar soap.
shooting up with the bath soaps. Yes, bar soap.
Yeah, like a bar soap.
It was bath soap.
Oh, bath salts.
Bath salts. No,
Yeah,
I was like bar soap. I don't even think that would do anything.
Old Spice body wash.
Yeah. Yeah. So we see those two. You're seeing these two groups going so it was really kind of different from what I expected. Some of the jokes were funny. I would have liked it more to be like what I wanted this movie to be was like a mature Toy Story, about food that
Was hiding from humans.
yeah, and kind of. I mean, there were some really funny parts in this movie, and the corn when
What-
he was outside running on the street. Do you remember that the corn
No. I don't remember that part.
when he fell out? He was running. He's like freaking out, and he found like a bunch of dead food that was like had half eaten. Do you remember when he saw the corn that was in like the dog poop or something or the human poop?
No.
Oh.
No. I do remember the gum as Stephen Hawking.
Oh yes, yeah, that was pretty funny.
I also thought it was interesting that that the food is smarter than the gods, and we can outsmart them. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had a really hard time just like taking this movie. As
I
a
know. I
funny
can
movie.
tell you're like struggling to get through this, and yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Just
It was the storylines were really cut up. The jokes to me missed.
yeah, it wasn't my favorite Seth Rogen film. I actually liked Knocked Up, and I liked
Neighbors.
Pineapple Express.
I thought Neighbors was kind of funny.
Yeah, I thought Neighbors was funny. But I don't think so. Do you feel like this is like an attack on Christianity and that people shouldn't?
Sure.
Are you like hashtag end times right now, or?
No, I'm not hashtagging time. I'm just this Seth Rogen. Okay, and I've said this to other people before.
Yeah.
So those who listen to the podcast and also heard me talk about this movie, Seth Rogen does a really good job at making people laugh.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie, he
and
tries
also
to
offending people. I think he likes to offend people too.
Sure, he does a really good job at making people laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Not discrediting that, but this movie, he tries to make people think and laugh, and he does a horrible job at both.
Interesting. This kind of had. Did you see the movie? I think This Is the End, or the end, or
At the end of the
whatever it's
world,
called.
or something. Time for the end. Yes, to me, I've never seen that movie, but
It was kind of similar. It was very had to do with like the apocalypse and stuff like that, and people getting the rapture happening, people getting sucked up and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't think he did if he was trying to market to 18, because basically what he was saying is like religion. It was a few things where the whiskey said that we started this story a long time ago as a good story to keep people from getting really depressed, which is not true of religion at all, or Christianity.
Of having purpose and stuff, right?
Yeah, give people purpose. And then he said, then it goes through all these flashbacks of how people abused it, and he shows Nazis abusing religion and using religion for really bad things.
Oh, yeah.
And which, if you know anything about World War II, Adolf Hitler was not a religious man at all. He
was Christian.
Manipulated the...
he claimed to be Christian. He had the Catholic Church and...
Well, he manipulated... If you read if you read a lot about Adolf Hitler and how he manipulated the Catholic Church in Germany, was basically out of fear of killing them versus an actual true adaptation to Christianity. But anyways, this movie is marketed to anywhere from 17 to 23, 25-year-olds and their mindset on religion, and how a lot of the problems in this world are actually due to Christianity or due to religion. And I think that there was a severe undertone with that in this movie. To me, it was. Maybe not to a lot of people, but I think that's why it's getting such good cinema score reviews, because those who are going to go see it are those who wanted to see or reinforce that idea, that ideology.
Yeah. I think on a actual like film, like you're thinking of production and pacing and all that stuff. I think it was decent. He did an okay job. There was no real big mess ups of anything. Everything kind of tied in together in the movie, which was good. He wrapped up everything together.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like?
Yeah. Everything came back to a conclusion.
The ending was. I thought the very end of the movie was kind of funny. How they. He was like, "Wait, this isn't real. This is just we're in actual something called
the fourth wall or something."
Yeah, they broke the fourth wall, and then they went to like He's like, we're gonna jump through like time or dimension or something. It was like a Stargate thing. It was pretty funny.
That to me was kind of interesting. I didn't really see they were going to take that. So let's talk a little bit about the end of the movie.
About the which part?
The orgy.
The orgy.
Yeah.
Well, basically, at the very end of the movie, after they defeat the douche, who was the antagonist,
the douche, and all the humans,
and all the people in the humans in the store, they have this huge sex orgy with all the characters, and it's not like it was a minute long. It was like 5 minutes.
Oh, it was very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was very uncomfortable and kept getting worse and worse and worse. And like you're like shielding your face, and you look back, you're like, oh, it's not over. It's not over.
Yeah, I was just
very awkward. Did you see it with? I saw it with a group, so it was pretty awkward.
No, I was watching this movie by myself, but
Stephanie didn't see it with you?
No.
Oh.
Thankfully. And at the end of the movie, they all come to this conclusion that we just gotta. None of this is real. We just all have to live in the moment, right? And then they introduce them. They go into this huge sex orgy where males are having sex with males and females with females and males with females, and everyone's doing everyone, right? Mm-hmm. There's something inherently wrong with that, because if everyone acts how they want to act, then what do we have? We have just chaos, right?
Yeah. Yep. I was reading something.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to kill someone, you can go kill someone. If you want to rape someone, you can go rape someone. So living in the moment and doing what you want has different meanings to everyone. Mm-hmm. And so whatever rules you think you just want to abolish, it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really work in the real world. So what he tried to do was make an animated film with a bunch of crude sex humor and dirty jokes, mm-hmm. things like that, and relate it to the real world and how we all should really live. And I wasn't buying it at all. I thought it was awful.
Yeah. Overall, wasn't that good. Like we said, 3 out of 10. Definitely #persecution 2016.
No.
No, don't be afraid. The one thing I would say, I agree with you about all the religious stuff. I didn't really, I wasn't picking up on a lot of that stuff. But when you explain it, it makes sense. But I would also say don't be afraid of movies though for listeners. Don't be afraid of things like this. If there's a movie, when they question things like this, I remember there was a lot of things growing up. Like what is it? What was the movie with not Angels and Demons, but the one before that where they're like Jesus really didn't die, or Jesus had a wife or something.
Da Vinci Code?
Da Vinci Code. Remember when that came out? A lot of people were like, don't go see it because it's, they're twisting scripture and stuff like that, the Bible and stuff like that.
Watch things that are going to challenge you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But we're not saying we'll go watch this because it'll challenge you, but don't not watch it don't watch it because it's
funny.
Yeah, don't watch it just because it's not a really great movie. That's what we would say.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a great movie. I wouldn't go see it. Like, I wouldn't recommend that someone go see, what's the movie? Rush Hour 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I wouldn't recommend someone go see that movie. But if you're gonna watch something that attacks Christianity, watch it to make it challenge you, and that's
Or
that's
watch
what
it-
really
you might
made.
enjoy the story of something. Like I've never actually seen Da Vinci Code or Angels and Demons, but I always hear that those are really good. I think we talked about wanting to see those on one
Yeah.
episode.
It's on Netflix. We need to just watch it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, one of the best movies I've seen, or one of the best documentaries, is which I like that kind of challenged me as a person, is Religulous by Bill Maher.
Oh no, I haven't seen that. No.
Yeah. So some like reach out like that, and sometimes I've read a little bit of Richard Dawkins stuff.
I've watched a ton of one of my like not guilty pleasures. One of the things that I like watching on YouTube are debates between Christopher Hitchens, who's now dead, but Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens. There's a few other atheist guys out there debating other modern Christian thinkers.
Yeah.
Not like pastors, but like scientists and mathematicians and philosophers and just great thinkers, apologists. And a lot of them make a lot of just like points that you never heard as a kid or anything like that. And they're not stupid people. I know a lot of Christians like to make fun of atheists, saying they're dumb. They're not stupid people.
No, they're
very, very smart. Some of the best in their
than
field.
most Christians.
The smartest, some of the smartest scientists in their field. They just have a different worldview.
Yeah, I would say pretty much all scientists are smarter than Christians. But
well, there's a lot of scientists who are theists, and a lot of scientists who are Christians, and a lot of scientists who are atheists. So
I love how we write Christians write people off though as soon as they're not Christian or like they are atheists.
yeah, it doesn't mean that their work is not good. I mean,
you can say we disagree on religion, but everything else,
So, anyways, watch things, listen to things that are going to sharpen you. You know, if something like draws a question in your head about God or about your faith.
Yeah, it's okay to question. It's okay to question things,
and then figure it out. Yeah,
when
just
people
come to a conclusion.
I feel like questioning, looking for truth is better than being afraid of truth. You know,
Sure.
Look for it, and it's okay. You might think you believe something, and you really don't. You know what I mean?
Sure. So I liked thinking through this movie and thinking about all of the problems in his argument, all the fallacies in his argument, and how it doesn't add up. Because after watching this movie, I was like, all right, why was that wrong? Why did I not feel great about that movie? And I just went through all the different instances. Is that real? Is that realistic? Does that happen? Is that logical? No, a lot of it wasn't. So, anyways, I think a guy who smoked too much pot has a really bad time making people think, in my opinion.
Has a really bad what?
Has a really bad time of trying to make people think. Doesn't do a really good job of making people think.
Yeah, because I missed some of that. So some of it went over my head during the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'm agreeing with you. You said he did a bad job.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I missed it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Gotcha.
I didn't get some of those.
You're like looking at me. I'm like, wait, what's he trying to say? No.
So
Cool.
I think that is the end of this episode 8. And if you like what you hear, please go to iTunes.com. Find us on there in the podcast section at Two Men Talking Movies and give us a rating and review, because not only does it make us look good, but it also helps people see us, right?
Yeah.
Because we show up in charts. And
Yeah.
new people will discover us in the charts. And that's where we need to be. So please go to iTunes. I'm stressing you. We're going to ask you every week, probably twice a week.
Yeah. I'm on my knees begging.
Yeah, if I could, I would keep creating iTunes accounts to help review ourselves, but I can't do that. I only have so many credit cards, Peter, so.
I'm just imagining, oh man, you on your computer with 15 different credit cards. Yeah, I applied for all these credit cards and got them all back. No,
Yeah.
Joe, your credit score.
So enjoy your week, watch lots of movies, and we will be back.
See you soon. Peace out.
Bye.
Toad man talking movies.
That noise. Ow. Ow.
Sorry.
Gosh.
I can hear that through there. Can you hear us pretty well?
Yeah, we sound great.
Oh, good. Hi. Do you have all your stuff together?
Yeah, I need to watch a couple trailers.
Okay, we can watch them together.
I think I'm going to have 3 this one and 3 on the next one.
All
There's not many that have been out since we last did one.
Underneath the wall, there's a light on the subway.
Why do you keep singing that? Who sings that?
I'm thinking the wrong lyrics anyways. It goes, da-na-na, da-na-na. Something about, it's up on the wall.
Stop me up. Stop me up and never stop.
What? No, it's,
No, it's a, instead of start me up, it's stop me up. And I have this thing where it was for this, people who have diarrhea.
Uh-huh.
There's a commercial. What is Pepto-Bismol? What kind of medicine do you take to stop you up?
I don't know.
Instead of the start me up,
Yeah.
stop me up. Stop me up and never stop.